There's something that's been a burden on my heart for the last several years and increasingly over the past about a year. And that is to see the direction that the youth of this country are headed in. You know, there's something that I believe Dietrich Bonhoeffer said many, many years ago. And he said, "Silence in the face of evil is itself evil." Another gentleman is quoted saying, "The only way evil can prevail is for good men to do nothing." Well, I've made a determination that that's not going to be me. I will not be silent in the face of evil. I will not do nothing while evil continues to prevail in this country. We see so many of the left who are trying to indoctrinate our children. They're trying to indoctrinate your children while they're in college. The colleges and the universities have become breeding grounds for socialistic views. We cannot let this continue. It is time for the youth of my generation to stand up for what is right, for what they know in their hearts is right. We see right now across the country such horrific things going on that are being done by the youth. You see people standing in the face of law enforcement officers, hurling insults, screaming profanities. That's not doing them any good. They are not affecting change in this country. They're bringing detriment. They're harming other people. That's not what our country is about. Our country is about helping others. Our country is about upholding the hands of those beside us. Our country is about giving to others. And those are the values that our country must return to swiftly, or we will go down the tube. And we will go down in history as the generation who brought down this country. That's not what I want to be remembered for. There are so many ways that you can affect positive change. The first one is by being informed. You have to look, you have to do your own research, you have to study. You can't just go off of what you hear in the media, what you see in social media, because you will be led astray. Mark my word, you will be led astray if you go off of what you hear other people seeing. Look at the records. You know, when you compare the party platforms between Republicans and Democrats, that tells you a lot about what candidates are going to stand for when they get in office. That's one of the best places to start with your research, is to look at the party platforms. When we're talking about an election that is as important as this election is in November of 2020, you have to look at where these candidates stand. The issues that are at stake here are so vitally important to the very fabric of this country. I've been thinking about something recently, and it really moved my heart when I thought about it more and more. This election in 2020 is going to be one that our children and our children's children are going to come back to us one day, and they're going to ask us one of two questions. And it's our choice which of those two questions they ask us. They're going to either ask us, where were you when socialists took over this country, the greatest country in the world, in November of 2020? Where were you? Or they're going to ask us, and this is the question I want my children to be able to ask me, what was your part in holding the line to stop Christianity from being another paragraph in the history books? To stop freedom from being axed at the root and pulled up like it never existed? Folks, we're at a crisis point in our country. We can either have 4 more years of a president and a vice president who have fought to enable the citizens of this country instead of putting all the power in the hands of the government. Or we can choose to have 4 years of socialists reigning and ruling in this country. And I believe in my own heart that if that's the choice we make, this country will never recover. Now, on the other hand, if we choose President Trump to guide our country for the next 4 years along with Vice President Mike Pence, I believe that that choice and what can be accomplished in the next 4 years will be something that will set this nation on a path for decades. So the choice is yours. You choose how you're going to use your voice. If anyone has ever told you that you don't have a voice or that your voice doesn't count, I'm here to tell you differently. I've experienced over the past several years myself how young people can affect positive change by standing up and by speaking up. Once again, I want you to remember this. If you don't remember anything else today, silence in the face of evil is itself evil. So it's your choice what you're going to do for this next election. We have people going out to the polls right now. Talk to your neighbors. You can talk to people at the grocery store. Talk to people at the gas station. And tell them about the things that have happened over the last 4 years in this country and how we have progressed to once again become one of the greatest countries in the world. The greatest country in the world. So, as we approach this November 3rd election, remember that we must stand up, we must speak up, and we must activate as if our lives depend on it, because they do. So if you take anything away from this today, stop and pray and ask God what your part is to make this country even greater than it ever has been before. You have a part. Your voice and your vote do count. Remember that on November 3rd, 2020.